Hello students, welcome to our lecture 3. In lecture 3, we will discuss about class and object. We will create a class and create objects under a class. And let's see how we can do that. I am a course teacher, Supriya Sarkar. Let's just create a class. Here, as you were a beginner in Python, so I am telling you that to create a class, we need a keyword called class. So when we write a keyword or something significant terms, then your IDE IDE will show it in a different color. So here you can see that there is a green word class, so it is a keyword. So to create a class, we need to use this class keyword. So as it is a keyword, we cannot use this class term for other reasons. So you have already learned it in your C course that the terms or the words that has a specific or significant meaning, we cannot use those things for other purpose. So we cannot use any variable name or any object name called class. So class is for creating a class. So here I just write the class keyword, and then I just I just put a name here called hello. So hello is the class name. So hello is my class name. This is the class name in yellow color, and this is the class keyword in green color. So here we have to use a colon. Colon when we if you write your colon in your IDE, then if you press a enter, the cursor will start uh, from this position, not from this position. It will not start from just below the class, but it will left a space empty. It is called indentation. You have to maintain this indentation. If you do not maintain this indentation, the interpreter will generate an error message. So uh, you have to maintain this indentation. This indentation has specific meaning. In Java, when we declare a class, we have to use a parenthesis, a curly braces. In curly braces, we write a block, and the class declaration remains in a block. But in case of Python, we do not need to do this. So indentation means here curly braces. So it is whatever we write inside this indentation, it means that it is inside this class. So here in this class, hello class, I have written only one statement, which is print hello world. So if I press shift enter, then this block will be executed, and this statement will be printed. That means hello world inside this. That means my class is being executed. So next, another thing is, while we create class, inside our class, we will create multiple functions or methods. So here, when we create user-defined functions according to our need, so here function means function starts with def. That means def. So any function, any word, if I write if I write def before any word, that means this is a function. It will create a function. That means class is signifies by class keyword, and function, user defined function, is signifies by def keyword. And obviously after any function, we have to use a colon. But it is not a function, it is a class, but we can write multiple functions inside this class. So we will see it in our next lectures or next slide. So here as I created a class, now our aim is to create an object inside the class or belong to that class. why we need to create an object? Because we want to access the attributes or behaviors under that class, under this class. So we have to create object first. Then using that object, we can access those behaviors or that attributes inside the class, declared inside the class. So objects are instances that we create. Objects are instances that we create to access the attribute inside the class. What I have told you earlier. So now we are going to create a class. Here I did not write any print statement here. I just use a keyword pass. That means I just left the class declaration uh, empty. So I just pass it. Then here my class name is student. The blue portion is my class name, and the class keyword is used for signifies this class. So next, you see one thing is noticeable, that after this colon, there is a empty space. That means this portion is inside this class, but the next two lines starts from the horizontal section, these two lines do not left any do not leave any empty space. That means there is no indentation, there is no empty space. That means these two lines do not belong to this block, isn't it? I told you that inside when how many lines inside this class will be have a indentation. That means there's this kind of empty place. But these two lines do not have empty space. That means it is not inside this block. It is out of this class block. Remember that it is very important. So I am writing the two statement outside of this class block. Okay. So I did not mention, I do not write any attribute or any properties inside this class. I just left it unwritten, left it empty. So now my aim is to create objects. So my first object name is std1. I'm just I guess I am assuming that it is student1. In the I will just create a student object under this student class. So how can I do that? I take an object called std1, and then I just call this class. So I write student and this two bracket. So it is my student class. It means that I am creating an object under this class, student class. It means that I am creating a student std1 object under this student class. That means whatever the class inherit, it will be also the properties of std1. Next, I want to create another object std2. So I am calling the same class again. So these are the two objects under this class, but I did not create inside this class. So that's how we can create class. Now, all the things I am showing you is a manual process to create class, to create instance, to create objects. This is all manual process. Now I am going to create attribute and its value. Assign the value of attribute. Then I will return the object with that value. So now I want, as I created object std1. So I just assume that it has some it has some attribute like first name, last name, email, score. These are all attributes of this class. So as it is the attributes of this class, obviously this attribute can be accessible to these objects too. These objects can access the attributes of this class. So now, this is the writing procedure. First is the object name, and there is a dot, and then this is the attribute name. So this is the attribute name, this is the object name. That means the writing procedure is object name dot attribute name. Then what I am assigning a value to this attribute of this object. The value is his first name. I assume that his first name is Tuhin. So the first student's first name is Tuhin. So then I assign the last name is Kumar. So then I assign an email address of this object std1. I just use a dummy email address. Then I assign a score of that student 76. So these are all attributes assigned value of these attributes of object 1. So in this process I can also assign attribute of object 2. It is easily understood that uh, that I can just repeat the same thing, same procedure. This is the manual process. I am assigning value of attributes, different attributes of multiple objects. So if I have so many, I can create so many objects under a class, and all the objects uh, can have the same attributes. So I have to assign all the values manually. So if I return the value of that object, so how can I do that? Here, I just access, or I just return the object one email address of object one. So I have to write this way: object dot email, object name dot email. So the email is the attribute value that I want to access or I want to return. So this object value uh, I do not have to return all the features or all the attributes of object at a time, but I can use whatever I want, which attribute I want to access. I can use this. I can call this way, and I just want I can print this way. So the first print statement will print the email of the object one. It is tuhin@gmail.com. It was tuhin@gmail.com. Go to the third line, std1.email equals to tuhin@gmail.com. That means I can access the value of the email value of object one. The next print will print that next print statement will print that std2.first. That means the first name of object 2. So what was that? It was Tarek. So the second print statement printed Tarek. That means this is how we can return the object's value, the attribute of objects. And this portion I just pass the value. I just pass the value, and in this portion I just return the objects. So if this is a manual process, so I have to write so many times how many if I want to get all the objects, all the created objects. So how we can do that more effectively? So we can use constructor. Now what is constructor? Constructor is a function. Constructor is a function whose task is to create or initialize values to any data members or that means objects. Constructor can create objects in a class. So it is constructor when inside that function, when we create objects or instance of a class. But if there is another term, that is destructor. The function of destructor is when the functionality of object is absolute. That means we do not need that object anymore. Or the function of destructor is to delete that or destroy that object. So one function create the objects, and another function can destroy the objects when it is not required. So here in this lecture, we will talk about constructor only, not destructor. Now we can just declare a constructor function which is init. So as we are working on the student class, inside the student class, I just declare another function. So I told you that if in Python, when we declare a function, there is a keyword def. So I used a keyword def. There is two underscore before init function, and there are two underscore after the init function. And I pass some arguments. One thing to be noticed that after this statement, class student colon, if you press a enter, the next line will start after so leaving some empty space. This is for class. So I am here. I am just entered into the class. After this line def and a function name and some arguments, then I use another colon. It is our constructor function. So after that colon, if I press enter again, then the next line will start leaving more space. Why? Because I am now inside the init function. So this empty space means that I am inside the init function, inside the function, and this empty space means that I am inside the class. So there are you have already know that how curly braces work. Inner loop, inner loop, inner loop. So you know that after inside a curly braces, if I put another curly braces, that means another block, it will left more space from the left side. So you already know that. Now, if you do not maintain this thing, the meaning of the program will be changed. So you have to maintain this indentation. Otherwise, the result will be changed, or you can have an error message. So inside, so init is a constructor. So here we pass some arguments. What are they? The first is self. Self is an instance. Instance means the purpose of instance to initialize the objects. So if you can easily consider that self is a kind of object, but a common object. In the previous example, there are multiple objects, std1 and std2, but here we just generalize that object 1 and object 2 by self. Self is a common name of that objects. So why we are trying to generalize? Because we are not going to write the object's name and object attributes multiple times. So we will write a general function to do that task. So we will write a general function, and all the time self will create new objects. So self is the instance of this class. So here the next argument is first name, and the next argument is last name. So and the score. So we can also use here email, because email is another attribute. Email was another attribute here. So we can also use email again here, but we did not do that. There is a reason. So next, if I declare if I just want to create the object, so how can I do that? Self, I told you that assume that self is a object, but self is an instance of a object, actually instance of a class. So here in place replacing the object, here I have written the object name and then the attribute name. So here I just written that the self and dot the first object, and then assign a value. So I did not assign a value here, because every time the value of any object, the attribute value of any object will be different. So I did not assign any value. I just write a similar statement, but did not assign a value. I just write that here the attribute name again. So this means that this is the similar statement like this. std1 dot first name equal to Tuhin. This is the similar statement of this self dot first equal to first. These meanings are the two of the lines are similar. But I am just generalizing all the statements here. So I did not assign any value here. I just write first. Similarly, self dot last equal to last. That means we assign, we create, we just assign a last value but did not assign any value directly. Then similar to the score, then email. In case of email, there are two ways. You can write self.email equals to email. This is the similar of the above statements. Again, you can also do that in a different way, like self.email equal to first name dot last name then at gmail.com. So I generalize this way because if someone's first name is Tuhin and the last name is Kumar, then the email address will be tuhin.kumar at gmail.com. So and the plus sign will concatenate those parts of a email. So I generalize the email format. So this is a format. So whatever the object's first name or last name is, it will be just placed in their own place. So I can also generalize this way. As I generalize the format, that so that I did not write in the email I did not added the email attribute to the argument list, as I will generate or format the email address from this first and last attribute. So I did not mention it here, but you can also do that easily. Self.email equals to email, and every time you have to assign a different email value. So let's see. Here we will return the objects from that construct. So here we can assign the value of std1. As we did not assign any value here, we just generalize all the created objects and their attributes. So now I will assign value and return the object value from constructor. So here student is the class name, and the class has 3 arguments as mentioned in the constructor definition of constructor. Here object, first name, last name, score. As the self is the instance, we do not have to write it. We are trying to access this information. We are trying to return this information, first, last, and score, and every time self will be with them. So, not actually self, it was the object name. So here I am trying to access first name, last name, and the score, and also the email address. If I wish to see the email address, I can see that by using the print function, print method. So here I am just assigning the value. Student is the class name. Student is the class name, and it takes 3 arguments here. If I want to assign 2, that do not factor, or 3, we cannot assign 3 value, because in the here I have only 3. I do not have any more value like email. If I want to pass another value, another attribute, email, so I have to write it here. If we do not follow this format, this email format, then I have to write it. I have to pass it in the argument list. So here I'm just returning the value, assigning the value of that attributes. That is for std1, that means object 1. Here I did not create an object. I just generalize how the object will be created. Inside the constructor, I just generalize how the objects will be created using self. So in place of self, now we will name the objects. So the first name of the object, I write it here, std1 equal to student, and then inside this parenthesis, we just assign the values to Hin, Kumar, and 76 is the score. And for student to std2 is the object second object name, and I assign value student Tarek Hossein 72. Now this is the value assigning, and how we can retrieve it from the constructor. Yes, using print, I just here write a print statement, and write the write the object name, and then dot. If I just press a shift enter, then it will return the value of email attribute of object 2. So it is first name dot last name at gmail.com, as it was formatted in the constructor function. So it is following the constructor. So if here, if I write std1 dot name, it will return to him. Let's try at home this using this code, or you can try you can try thinking more environment. You can generate more environment using this class and object. Just try at home. So that's all for today's class. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the live class. So that's it.